Yeah, I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. As we go and we get home. Everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will take the roll. Kim is here tonight. Glenn.
Here.
Jessica. Here. Art.
Here.
Crystal. Here.
Stuck in your head.
We're all laughing now because Glenn has made a point that, because of the line of thing, I say Crystal Gale now.
Here.
And for people who are old enough to know that that's a country western singer, that's now gonna be funny. Okay. Beth. Yes, here. Yes. I'm here. Marcia, I was told that she's on vacation. And Jane is here, or at least she was for a program online. Are you still here, Jane?
I'm here.
Okay. And Deb is here. And I got a message that Karen was unable to come tonight, so we have a quorum. Okay. And I also got a message that we were going to have a presentation tonight, but that has been canceled due to illness, so probably another time we'll be able to do that. So now then, anybody from the public wish to speak? By online? Hearing anybody, I'll move on. Does anyone wish to add or change anything in the agenda? If not, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted? Move to approve. Or
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carried. Then we have two consents. The first one, does anybody wish to remove any of the items from the minutes, prior minutes? In order to discuss them individually. If not, may I have a motion to approve the prior minutes from December? Moved.
Else, I would move to approve the prior minutes of the board meeting, finance committee, program committee, and executive committee under the consent items.
Support?
Support.
Pretty good to Jessica. Yeah. Okay, all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then you all have a copy of the closed session minutes that we should look at and approve and then hand back to Megan. No. No? Somewhere. Oh. I just gave mine.
Need an extra copy? Oh.
I provide it's the people that were present.
Oh, okay, we'll go ahead and fit it now. Does anybody see anything we need to amend from the minutes?
Oh. This was on.
If not, I would, like a motion to approve the closed session minutes.
Motion to approve closed session minutes.
Support?
Support.
Any other discussion?
The agenda note said it was on October 6th, but I think that should reflect December 16th.
I think so too.
Oh,
I bet you that was the date of our last closed
I
session.
think so.
Uh,
I'll get that changed.
yeah, good catch. Here we go. Does it say that on here too? No, it says it's on the actual minutes. Okay. No other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. While we're thinking about it, we'll just pass it on to you. Okay, I went ahead and just shared quickly the program committee today until, I went to the finance committee, and I know that we, heard a report. Well, the program committee reviewed the risk management plan. And answered, Gina answered any questions that we had about that. And then, the program committee does want to recommend that the full board approve the presentation schedule for 2026. I'll entertain a motion from someone in the program committee to, and we want to make a motion to approve the presentation schedule.
I make a motion to approve the presentation schedule.
Support. Support by Deb. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, finance, Beth.
Okay, a quick report starting on page 5. The financials run, the first 2 months, October and November of the fiscal year. Going into human resources, they are looking at a human resource system, and they looked at 6 of them. They had demos on 4, and now they have it down to their top 2. And this should revolutionize the HR department. That should be up and running July 1 for this coming summer. They also worked on a couple of health policies, or not health, human resources policies or employee policies. One was the transportation of persons served and the remote work agreements. The HR department did go to a legislative update based in Kalamazoo to be current on the employee laws. November was the open enrollment for health benefits. And did the switch over happen for this year, the going to Blue Cross, or is that coming?
The enrollment was done in November, and then the actual switch happened in January.
Okay,
But we did all the work, doing
Right.
paperwork, background paperwork, between November and December.
basically they went from Priority Health to a Blue Care, Blue Cross, and then went from Standard Dental to Delta, and the Cobra benefits went to a new provider also. The nice news is that it used to be an 83-17% split with the employer to the employee contributions. It went down to 81-19, so every little bit helps and relieves the old pocketbook a little bit. As for information technology, the new Elios health program system is on target to be up and running. They did, I think I might have mentioned this last month, but the HAM, which is the Human Analytics Manager, has been hired, and that person will look at how well we're running our systems and helping to see where we need some more efficiencies, how many people we're serving, etc. The match room is coming along just fine. So that's kind of the end of the report side. On to page 7. We have a couple of bills to pay if you want to follow along. But I recommend that the OnPoint board approve the December 2025 disbursements totaling $3,765,054.66.
Do I have support for that motion? Support by Glenn. Any discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Kim,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
I say yes. Deb,
Yes.
give somebody. No, okay. Motion passed.
Okay, turning to page 8, we have to add somebody to the provider contract list. Crest Consulting. So I recommend that the OnPoint board approve the following list of provider contracts for fiscal year 2026.
Support for that motion.
Support.
Like Kim? Any discussion? Hearing none, again, I'll do a quick, roll call. Deb?
Yes.
I say yes. Beth?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. A quick look at the financials on page 11. For Medicaid, we came out with $418,024 ahead, and that if, we closed up shop, that's what would be returned to the LRE at this time. The CCBHC subtotal is at $97,734. Our general fund is, in the hole at the moment, but as the year goes on, it should build back up. Technically, there is no balance sheet because we're doing the closing audit for the year, but we should have an official balance sheet in March. So next couple of months. As for page 12, the revenue and expenses, the nice part is, I think I'll just keep it this simple because the rest of it's pretty much the same from last month. 2 months in, it's 16.67%, and the total revenue is at 15.6. The total operating is at 15.53. So we are controlling financially where our budget for the year. As for CCBHC visits, in total for the first 2 months, we're 72 visits ahead. So, 36 per month average ahead of what we budgeted for. The little caveat to that is that in November, we were a little bit less than the visits we budgeted for, but we had such a stellar October that it carried November to the first 2 months. So that is all I have for a report.
Any questions for Beth?
Oh, the building report is, for the mat room is going just fine. Oh, okay. Wanted me to say it.
I was, because somewhere you already mentioned it, so I already crossed it off, so, okay. All right, Glenn, the recipient rights did not meet, but was there anything you wanted to talk about?
No, we did not meet, but pages 13 through 25 is the annual report that was submitted to the state in December. This is there for review and does not need any action.
Yes. Any questions about that? Or anything else for Glenn? Okay, hearing none. Do we have Mary or Stephanie tonight?
Hi, good evening. You've got me, Stephanie here.
Hi.
Hi there, and I appreciated the joke about Crystal Gayle. I'm old enough to remember that, and I was snickering when you did it again, so thank you for that gift tonight. Anyway, so I do have a couple updates for you. I wanted to let you know that here at the LRE, we are still working through the CCBHC changes. As you all know, on October 1, obviously, CCBHC was bifurcated from our office and went to all of the local CCBHCs, which in this region is all 5 of our CMHs. It feels like every week we uncover something new that either the department didn't think through, or we're having a moment within our internal agency where we're questioning what something might look like. And I believe I shared with you either last month when I was here or the month before that we actually submitted a questionnaire to the department that ended up being 19 pages long of a variety of questions and things that we found from the contract or the CCBHC manual. We finally, after a month, got results from that from the department, and I will honestly tell you they didn't answer very many of our questions. So I did request a meeting, which they agreed to. So next week, LRE will be meeting with our contract manager at MDHHS, which is Michael Gludd. They also invited Lindsay Nayert, who is the CCBHC lead individual at MDHHS. So I look forward to hopefully getting some of our questions answered at that meeting. Just so you all know, one of the questions that recently came up was site reviews. We're doing some provider site reviews. What if it's a DCO with an agency? How does that look? We don't know, so those are some of the things that we're trying to work through. So just a lot going on there. So just wanted to let you know that. One other thing too that I wanted to mention is that we also are starting to work on our annual impact report for fiscal year 25. So we're working through that. The other item I want to mention is our board meeting is next week, Wednesday, January 28th at 1 p.m. There will not be a board work session. That might be a little bit of a news flash to a couple of you. I do apologize. You will be getting a formal email on that. However, at our board meeting, we will be having Wakely there, who will be doing an ISF analysis for us. In the event anyone has interest, please let me know. I'm happy to get you the Zoom link, or you can gladly join us in person. We meet in Muskegon at the Grand Valley office and on Viridian Street. So just let me know. I can get you that address too. And then the last thing that I wanted to let you know is we are starting our site reviews with our CMHs. This week is Network 180. Allegan, we will be meeting with you in a few months, but did want to let you know that that process has started. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions or things they'd like me to explain maybe more thoroughly.
Any questions for Stephanie? So I feel like, is it old news that the judge's decision, has that been discussed at the full board level? I mean, I heard about it. Was that going to be part of yours,
Yeah.
Mark? Did you? Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll pause on that. We'll keep going.
Well, it might give Stephanie a chance to talk about that, though, just from her perspective, because it really was a motion made by several PXPs as well. And I'd be interested in having you hear her take on it, not just mine. If I can put you on the spot, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Happy to talk about that. Yeah, what's funny is that literally was number 1 on my list, and apparently I skipped that. So sorry. Not sure how that happened, but here we go. So in the event any of you haven't had an opportunity to see this, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm happy to pop it in the chat, and then Megan can probably email that or hit print, whatever works for this group here. But the judge did issue his ruling on January 8th. And it's about a 20-page document where when the document comes out, if you haven't seen these before, it kind of gives you a high-level overview of what the issue was, kind of an abstract, if you will, and then it starts to go really granular into some of the different arguments that the individuals, whether that was from MDHHS or I'm going to say on our side, if you will, provided their feedback. And basically where the judge has landed is saying there are multiple areas of the RFP that do not meet the standards of the mental health code, just as we thought. And basically where the judge is at is that the state has a couple of options. They can pull the RFP back completely, which would be Stephanie's preference, but that's not what we're here for. The other item would be they could pull back a portion of the RFP to make it come into, agreement, if you will, with what the judge is saying, but also with the mental health code. And then the last one is send it back over to the department. Specifically, there's a budget management department. They're the ones who, write RFPs, kind of that legal team, if you will. Send it back over to them to really take a look at this. As of today, unless someone else has heard something, I have not gotten a single email indicating any idea of what the state is going to do. Now, I did see that next week the Board Association is doing a director's report, and that is number one on their agenda. But the last I knew, they meaning MDHHS, had 30 days to respond. So that's all I know at the moment, besides when I say our lawyers, I want to be clear. LRE was not in this, but they are our litigators that we utilize, which is Chris Ryan. He did indicate he was very pleased with the judge's ruling. So for what it's worth, that would be my update.
Okay. Thank you. I got a $1 bet on, they just say, never mind. But, so I'm with you, Stephanie. We'll celebrate if we're right.
That's right. We're gonna.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I have quite a few items to share from Friday's executive committee meeting. First of all, we received a quarterly compliance report from Diane. She does that routinely, and this quarter there was no areas of concern that she reported, so we just accepted that. She also went over the corporate compliance plan with us, and we reviewed that. And I don't know if she's here tonight, was she going to be? If there was any questions that anybody had with that. And the other, I'll just say that he's here if anybody does. We did decide, the executive committee did want to recommend to the full board that we accept the plan as written. But certainly if anybody had any questions, that's why she's here tonight, to answer. Hear any? So I
think it's for approval.
just approve.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
But I do need to make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that that the full board approve the corporate compliance plan for 2026. Do I have any support for that?
Support.
Support by Ken. Yeah,
I'll make an amendment to that. We had discussed in the executive committee that it be retroactive to the October 1st, 2025, which is our fiscal year. And I would make that, I move that it be retroactive, effective October 1st of 2025.
thank you. I forgot that part. Any other discussion?
Support you.
Okay. Anything else? All right, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Point of order.
Sure.
Was that on the amendment? And then,
You want to do both? Okay,
and then we'd have the amended motion moved.
okay. You just moved to approve the amended motion. So now I'd like to have the full board approve the motion to accept retroactively the corporate compliance plan. All in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Then we did spend quite a bit of time talking about the various options that we might have for conducting the new CEO search. And the executive board would like to recommend that it serve as the search committee, but I wanted to open that up to the full board. I'd like to hear what anybody else has any, uh, suggestions or opinions about, and, have that be something that we talk about tonight. And then see if we want to, go with that or something else.
I have a question besides, will the rest of the board be able to have any input with the group at any time? Like if things arise, like ideas,
Yes. Here's my understanding of kind of the big picture of what would happen is that, you know, the search committee is going to look at the current job description, see if there's anything we need to change before we post the job. And then we'll accept the applications, we'll review them, make sure that they, are eligible candidates. And, I would imagine at that point, we would report back to the board to say, oh, we've got 6 candidates or whatever. And then we would we'd call people to, have interviews. Then we'll, as a board, decide who we want to, hire. Then we offer them a contract, they accept it, and then, hopefully that all happens before December. So, and I would think that certainly, you know, like say, for example, to me, the part that might have the most discussion would be, okay, what changes do we want to make to the, job description, for example, like, or the posting? And I don't see why we couldn't. I think the executive committee has already seen the current job description, right? And if you wanted to see a copy of that too and look at it, that'll be probably the first thing that the executive committee will do next month.
I would like to see it only because I want to know what criteria is going to be out there for the people that are going to eventually, hopefully be interviewed, right? Just to stay in the know and not have these expansive amounts of time go through while the executive committee is doing things and then 2 or 3 months later, then we find, so I would like to just make sure the entire board is kind of kept in the loop, at least with materials coming out, what you guys are reviewing, what you guys are coming up with. That's just my thoughts on that.
I certainly expect it to we'll have an agenda item, an ongoing one that I will report, or somebody else will just kind of keep people. Glenn?
Just to add to what Alice said, we had discussed that with the current job posting or description. We were going to ask Andrew to review it too, the lawyer. And then I don't know if it was clear. I didn't comprehend it's clear, but any hiring interviews have to be conducted with the full board, and the full board makes a decision on who's offered a position, not just the search committee.
Yeah, no, I was just, I knew that the search committee, that's what you guys are doing, or I knew that the full board needed to be there, but just like, I know you guys will be doing the bulk of the work in the search, but just to keep the board kind of abreast, like if you guys have something on a Friday, just like shoot us an email instead of waiting the next month to get it to us, or, you know what I'm, just make sure that the board.
Do you have a desire to be on the search committee?
I do, but I can't commit to it right now.
Okay,
Otherwise I would.
okay.
We talked about that a little bit. We've got to be sure that the search committee doesn't have a quorum. So there are 5 of us on the executive committee now, and we can have up to 6. So, certainly if anybody wanted to be part of we could have 1 extra person without it. And I suppose somebody on the executive committee could choose not to be on the search committee, and, you know, so we've got that wiggle room if there was any interest.
We're done.
Provided you have 12 members.
Deb has worked on hiring committees before. Did you hire the superintendent? Yeah. She's got some experience.
Summer interviewing.
Well, do you want to do it for an entire year? Is the question. Would you like to?
Yeah, it's my least favorite thing to do, but I will try. It's tumultuous. It's a lot to do. Yeah, it's a serious matter.
Right.
So I'll do it, yeah. I could,
Okay.
well,
We talked a little about, scheduling about that, you know, and so we were thinking that, if there was anyone on the search committee that isn't on the executive committee, that we would try to either meet just before or just after, which is always, so that's always the Friday before the Tuesday, and it's usually the second Friday of the month. Would that work for you at all
yes,
to do that?
yes. Okay, what time of day again?
It's at 2:30.
Okay, yeah. Just when it gets greener, I get a little busier on Fridays, but I can make it work.
Hopefully it's not every Friday already.
Anyone else? Because we could make other adjustments if we want to. Well, so somebody make a motion then. What are we saying? We want to recommend that the search committee comprise of the executive committee members and Deb. Right? But that's my motion. Do I have any support?
Support.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, opposed? Carried. See. Okay, the other thing is, I need to appoint a nominations committee because, officers that their terms come up, we should talk about it we should have recommendations in February and then have a vote in March, and then the new terms start the April meeting. In the past, I know it has been, Glenn has been on it and Mark has been on it. And usually you often kind of meet for a few minutes after, one of these meetings to just kind of talk it over. Usually the first thing that we do is just kind of ask people, are you still willing to serve in your current position? And then that pretty much usually wraps it up. But, certainly, and remember too, that, you know, the nominations committee is just going to make a recommendation to the full board. We could always take, what do you call it, on the floor? Nominations on the floor. Like say, I guess would be in March, so.
How many people need to be on that committee?
2 or 3,
And how many times do they meet?
usually once.
Just once a year?
A lot of times we met and then somebody said, well, you call so-and-so and I'll call so-and-so. And, you know, and so you only actually meet, you know. Right? You've chaired it before.
Yeah, we do meet typically right after a board meeting and, yeah, kind of ask people if they're still willing to serve, and so far it's worked out.
Okay. Well, anyone, are you interested in being on the nomination?
Yeah, if it's not like a big, like the
Okay.
search committee, that would be a little more.
Anyone
Yeah,
else?
I'd be interested.
You're
Yeah.
Mark, Crystal, Gail? Who wants to?
Crystal Gale.
I did it again, didn't I? Like, great. So I think then I will appoint Jessica, Crystal, and Clint to be the nomination committee.
Here.
You. Oh, whoever asked the chair was, I was gonna say you're the chair.
That's
Good. So you can report back in February.
February. So we'll meet as a committee shortly after the adjournment of this meeting, if it's okay.
Then, on the table there, they are their current bylaws and policies. We all should take some home with us and review them because we should discuss them in February and approve them in March. there's any changes to be made. And I need to, Megan, I have, I think, one, executive, no, I gave it to you already. A CEO evaluation. Do you have everybody's? Do we need, anybody have any to deliver tonight? He's out the door. He's like, no, why do you have to do it?
Then you give him 5 stars and he gets to walk.
I never give anybody cuts.
I'll just bring him a gold star sticker.
Okay.
Receive those that will submit them.
All right. We'll just leave that alone. Okay. All right. Any questions about any of that? For me, about the, or anything else about the executive committee? Hearing none, let's go on to Mark.
Thank you, and Fairford. My report, I'll just report from here if it's all right. We've covered most of the things that are in my report. I will say that we did receive a couple of applications. One, I think, was a facetious application through the county, and the other was a more serious one, or at least included all the information we needed. So we'll be doing a follow-up with that person, but continue to remain open for applications. So continue your word of mouth on that. Nothing else to add to anything else until we get down to the state RFP on page 63. I'll say just a few more words beyond what Stephanie mentioned, and that is that the Judge Yates, in no surprise, did give obviously the state an opportunity to fix the problem that they created by putting out an RFP that didn't comply with state law under the mental health code. It's unclear what the department will be doing, which of the options, you know, they talked during the hearings about how the Department of Technology Management budget had avenues for trying to resolve the problem, including pulling back and reissuing, pulling it together, or pulling it all together, and or letting it stand. And, you know, they had a number of options. Which of the ones the state will exercise has not been communicated. They have said to the Community Mental Health Association that inquired about what do you plan to do, they said we're reviewing the ruling. And that's been the message basically since January 8th. The date of the 29th that I think was mentioned as a deadline was a deadline for them to appeal that ruling. So if they don't appeal by then, I think then they have to live with whatever it is that they decide to do with the ruling. So the trick in dealing with the ruling for them is that there were a number of people whose decisions to either bid or not bid were based on the parameters of the RFP. There were organizations that were insurance companies when they encountered the requirement that no bidder can delegate to a sub-entity the responsibilities that they're taking on through the RFP. There were insurance companies, national insurance companies that wanted to bid, but would not have been able to give to their Michigan operations the responsibilities that they would have acquired through the bid. So they didn't bid. So all of a sudden, the issue of delegating responsibilities beyond, you know, the parameters of the bid, all of a sudden the PHPs can delegate to CMHs the responsibility of building a provider network, for example. That wouldn't have been allowed under the original bid, but if it's suddenly allowed, the insurance companies that couldn't do that are going to say, hey, wait. And that opens the state to litigations from that angle. So there's questions about how it will do it. If it pulls it back and reissues something, then we start dealing with the calendar problem, which is how much time does a bidder have to bid? How much time does the state have to evaluate? And then how much time does a bidder have to ramp up their operations before this governor's term ends and the people who are in charge of administering it are gone? So those are all clock questions. The CMH Association really isn't so much concerned about what will the state do, because it is, you know, built in their eyes. In our eyes, we have won the basic argument, which is that CMHs by law are entitled to do the work that we're entitled to do. Building a community network of services to meet the people's needs of this community. So the question that really has been kicking around the association has been more about, the department did not do this out of thin air. They received a lot of complaints from what we refer to as advocacy groups, individuals who represent a type of a population or sector of the population that don't like the present system for some reason or another. What we wanted to do is to sit down with all those parties, including the state, and say, why don't we envision a new public system that takes the concerns that the advocates have that are legitimate? And, they have questions, things like perceptions about conflict of interest. Now, you and I might say, well, they're not going to abuse their power by doing that, but some people don't believe that that was really on the up and up. So if a CMH appoints members to a PHP board, doesn't that just serve the CMH's interests and not the needs of the people? Those are questions. Now, it doesn't have to be organized that way. It could be organized differently. And so those kinds of ways of doing things differently might satisfy the concerns that were out there without throwing away the whole public nature of the system. So that's what we're interested in doing, is finding out how we can come together to envision the next iteration of how this system looks for the future. So we'll be meeting, as Stephanie mentioned, on January 28th, with the Directors Forum, to consider strategies to try to get to that. So that's kind of what I wanted to wax on. There really is, at this point, though, no determination about how the state will respond. For the record, I will say that all the board members here did receive a copy of the ruling and the communication from the association as soon as it was released. We didn't have a board meeting or conversation about it outside of this setting, but all of the information that was shared to us by the Community Mental Health Association and the ruling itself was shared with all the board members here by email. So that's all I have on that, unless there are questions you want to get into separate from the next item.
Tell me again the date. They have until what to appeal?
I believe January 29. I think it's 3 weeks after the date of the ruling.
Days.
Yeah, 21 days to decide whether or not you want to appeal a ruling. And Judge Yates did, by the way, retain jurisdiction over the matter so that in the event that the next step in the process by any party were to violate the basic rule of his agreement, it goes back to his court. And basically he said, look, I'm not going to do the work of the legislature or the work of the administration. I'm here as the judge. I'm not a legislator and I'm not an administrator. But if you can't work it out in those settings and somebody comes back to me with a complaint that it's not proceeding the way it should, or if this, the scenario that I don't think would happen, but scenario would be, what if the administration went on and just announced the winners under the old system and they rolled on as before? It'll be back in his court for an injunction. So he didn't issue an injunction. He issued a ruling on the merits of the department's RFP. So I'll press on then with the next items. The section I had on page 63 that is in bold says the federal budget for 2026. That last paragraph about the Affordable Care Act subsidies, that situation remains true as I wrote it. But, a lot of things change in the course of a month. But that paragraph about individuals in the Allegheny County who relied on the Affordable Care Act for their private insurance still are without the ability to apply subsidies. So if some of them have dropped their insurance as a result and they come to us for care, that taps our general fund dollars rather than insurance funds or Medicaid. So just wanted you to know that that continues to be the case. The last item I went on quite a bit about, but mostly just to give you kind of a lay of the land about where the housing crisis is. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, referred to as HUD, indicated that it was going to terminate its current funding arrangements for supportive housing and replace it instead with grants that were intended to provide emergency assistance but not long-term housing support. A judge out east in Connecticut put an injunction around that and said you will not do that. Uh, And what we are waiting for at this point, I guess I'll say, and this affects our housing department, is a resolution of where the housing department, HUD, is going to go next. The notices of financial opportunity or notice of funding opportunities is what, generally speaking, gives you the opportunity to bid on the programs. Programs, if they're being recast, could very well be different than what they are today. The judge really didn't say that the federal government could not do it. The judge said you couldn't do it so abruptly as to cause havoc amongst the people that are being served through the system today. So Allegan is part of a 61 county group that collectively contracts with HUD for the dollars that are in question here. What we are waiting to see is how the federal government will respond by issuing a proper notice of funding opportunity, but with whatever terms that they will want to include the next time. What we are worried about and concerned about is that the supports that we provide for homeless people in this community that provides long-term housing supports will be disrupted in favor, so 85% of the funding that comes through that channel today goes for that service. The concern is that the federal government's intent is to flip that and to say that the most of the money, which would also then potentially be reduced, will go for short-term shelterish type supports and not long-term housing supports, meaning that people who are living in long-term supports, long-term housing arrangements will be disrupted from those and be forced essentially to find housing on their own because the only thing we do is temporary housing assistance. So that's what that was all about. And just to let you know that I think the system is still very precarious related to that. So as a homelessness system, we really are waiting to see where the next shoe will drop with this administration. So with that, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in my report, unless there's anything else that you need me to comment or talk about.
Questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark. Okay, another opportunity for public comment. Anybody? No.
I just had one thing, next week, we, speaking of housing, are doing our point in time count, in Allegan County. It's on Wednesday, but we're technically doing it Thursday morning, so, that's where we go out and actually, try to do, outreach and talk to folks who might be unhoused. So if anyone knows of any areas or places where we should go or to connect with folks, please let us know. Housing at onpointallegan.org is the website or the email address. But we'll be out and about.
So it's the opportunity for us to register exactly the number of people who are homeless in Allegan County. And then that's tied eventually to allocations.
Do you work with schools on their homeless populations?
Yes, so we just had or will be having a meeting with the homeless liaisons at the schools, so for our housing.
Okay, yep.
And if anyone's interested in helping with the count,
Yes, 4 in the morning, Thursday morning.
You know where else is a good place to get information? The courthouse.
Oh, okay.
The job I did, that was the majority of my caseload. So, I don't know, not to double count people or anything like that, but it might also be able to help you when you're hearing things.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
Okay. Board member comment. Jessica. Anything?
Nice to be back.
nice to have you there.
All right.
Nothing further.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody here and be safe getting back home.
Gonna do it? No, I'm not.
Crystal.
Crystal blend.
Welcome back, Kim.
Thank you.
Missed you.
Thank you. No, I'm good.
I'm good too. Taking a motion for adjournment
Move to adjourn.
or?
All in favor, say yes.
Yes. Opposed?